Sin City, Neon Desert, entertainment capital of the world. Las Vegas once held countless glamorous nicknames, evoking an endless paradise of light, chance, and sleepless nights. But perhaps this is a sensitive time to bring up those names again, because instead of celebration, Vegas today only evokes disappointment. Once welcoming nearly 42 million visitors annually, the city is now experiencing a severe decline in tourism. The brightly lit signs couldn't hide the empty rows of hotel rooms, and the casino areas were now just empty slot machines. Vegas is no longer a place where everyone feels welcome. It has become a symbol of overspending, mounting bills, and increasingly alienating experiences. That harsh truth not only reflects a city losing its identity, but also exposes deeper cracks in American society. The erosion of the middle class, the abandonment of the working community, and the gradual disappearance of faith in a fair experience. In today's video, let's explore why no one wants to save Las Vegas anymore, what caused America's most glamorous city to fall into decline, and most importantly, is this just a story about Vegas or a reflection of America's own future? Let's find out right now. The past 9 months have likely been the most difficult period Las Vegas has ever experienced, even more frightening than the COVID era or the 2009 Great Recession. Vegas was once a story of opportunity. Legal casinos, low taxes, a land full of room to boom. And you've surely heard the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But the harsh truth is that what's happening here is no longer confined to the Nevada desert. It's bringing consequences that extend far beyond the city limits, affecting even those who have left. And perhaps it is the nearly 42 million visitors who have set foot here who feel this pain most deeply. A cleaning staff member on the Strip said, "We used to be busy until 3 or 4 in the morning. Now it's about 1:30 and it's completely deserted. The city center is deserted." That account is not just a personal feeling. It accurately reflects what the figures are sounding the alarm about. Compared to July of last year, the number of visitors to airports, hotels, and transportation from California has decreased significantly. From a peak of 41.7 million visitors in 2019, Las Vegas now only has 19.6 million in 2025, and that trend continues to plummet uncontrollably. Other data further highlights the reality. Hotel occupancy rates, which were always above 90% even on weekends, have now fallen below 80%. The average length of stay was 3 to 4 nights, but now it's only 2 nights, causing revenue for all related industries, from restaurants and taxis to art performances, to plummet simultaneously. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. With each guest who disappears, an entire link in the vast operational chain is broken, from the work of the waitstaff and the drivers' salaries to the local taxes that support the community. It's no surprise that tourists who once flocked to Vegas are now turning away. They chose Europe, South America, or Asia, destinations that are more affordable, offer new experiences, and most importantly, still make them feel welcome. Vegas was once famous for its dazzling lights, the scent of perfume wafting through the casinos, and the endless clatter of slot machines. A timeless space where you could play for hours and forget about day and night. However, by 2025, all many people feel is a layered nightmare. Unreasonable prices, unappealing services, and an atmosphere that feels alien compared to the Vegas of its golden years. Most importantly, visitors no longer feel like winners when they leave Vegas, but rather like losers in a rigged game. Trust, which once transformed Las Vegas into a sanctuary of hope and opportunity, is fading. And when trust disappears, the drop in numbers is only a natural consequence. If even Vegas, a city once synonymous with crowds, excitement, and endless possibilities, is losing its appeal, where else in America can maintain its pace and spirit? That question isn't just for the people of Nevada, but for an entire generation who once believed the American dream could be found under neon lights. But the cold statistics and painful experiences of visitors are only the beginning of the story. Behind that decline lies a deeper wound, the betrayal of trust, which we will dissect together in the next part. Can you believe it? There was a time when you could enjoy a full 5-day vacation in Las Vegas for just $300. A hotel room for $39, a buffet breakfast for only $5.99, with a wide variety of dishes and strong coffee. You sit down at a 5-cent slot machine, and immediately a server will bring you a free drink, as warmly as if you were a distinguished guest. For just a few dollars in tips, they'll keep coming back non-stop, and sometimes you'll even get free show tickets without having to risk too much of your money. Vegas used to be the city where small change could create big memories. But those days are long gone. $300 isn't even enough to rent a modest hotel room these days, let alone cover meals or entertainment. Vegas calls it a new tradition. Sayakar, tradition where every experience is reduced to a bill, as long as the instruction manual for a prescription. A hotel bill today is like an indictment. Resort fees of $40–60 per night for amenities no one uses. Parking fees of $20 per hour, something that was free for decades. Even a simple beer is marked up to $15. One person recounted that just 2 Mick Ultras at the bar cost him $30. The nightmare didn't end there. The $10 card tables that many once considered an exciting starting point are gradually disappearing. Slot machines, which once offered a glimmer of hope for winning, are now programmed to retain more and pay out less. Buffets, once the pride of Vegas, now cost up to $50, but the quality is no different, and in many places, it's even worse than before. A room in Luxor costs $200–300, or a Cirque du Soleil ticket is nearly $300, all of which leave tourists shaking their heads in dismay. What once made Vegas magical, the generosity, the surprise gifts, the free experiences etched in memory, has been erased simply because it wasn't directly profitable on the balance sheet. The Treasure Island Pirate Show, which once drew millions of visitors with its free outdoor performances, was shut down in 2013 to make way for a shopping mall and high-end restaurants. Or take the Luxor Pyramid, the mystical symbol of Egypt with its artificial Nile and stunning design, which is now just a conference room with monotonous furniture. Vegas no longer has a concept of making memories or leaving a lasting impression. Everything, from the architecture and services to the people themselves, is evaluated through a short-term profit spreadsheet. In the old days, people used to say, "The house always wins." But the truth is, Vegas is winning in a different game. Winning at losing the loyal trust of visitors. You succeeded in turning a promised land into a nightmare that even after you leave, the lingering disappointment still haunts you. How can a city continue to exist if its foundation, fair experience, has been broken? When Vegas stops being a place where memories are made and becomes just a place where bills are printed, who will want to come back? However, this betrayal of trust is not yet the biggest mistake. Because of this, Vegas is betting its entire future on billion-dollar gambles. And what the outcome will be, we'll see in the next part. Perhaps nowhere is it clearer than in Las Vegas to see a stark paradox. Glamorous projects, costing billions of dollars with the ambition to save the city, become a burden that makes the community struggle even more. From afar, Vegas still sparkles with new buildings, but upon getting closer, many realize it's just artificial light, not enough to warm the fading faith of tourists and locals. One of the biggest gambles is bringing Formula One to the Strip. The initial idea sounded captivating. Transform the streets of Vegas into a speedway where the world's top drivers whiz past neon lights. However, instead of a halo, local residents describe it as a traffic nightmare. During the event, the entire city was gridlocked, residents couldn't move, and tourists had to pay over $1,000 for a night at a hotel, only to feel like they were trapped in chaos. Not a few people admit that Vegas sacrificed comfort and identity for a fleeting moment of glamour. Then there's the Sphere, the giant $2.3 billion light sphere. On the surface, it's a technological masterpiece with giant LED screens that transform the entire structure into a living work of art. But inside, it's a financial problem that makes many experts shake their heads. Despite some high-profile performances, Sphere still carries a massive debt, and its revenue is insufficient to cover operating costs. Bloomberg once pointed out that to break even, the project would need to sell millions of tickets each year, a challenging goal given that tourists are leaving Vegas. The big mistake lies in the fact that Las Vegas chose to chase short-term glitz instead of preserving the fundamental values that resonated with middle-class tourists, the group that sustained the city for decades. When the center pours all its resources into luxurious symbols, experiences that are close, friendly, and provide a sense of fairness are pushed to the sidelines. As a result, Vegas seems to be losing its core audience. Not only tourists are complaining, but local residents are also expressing their fatigue. The roads that were once theirs are now event venues. Daily routines are disrupted, and the cost of living is skyrocketing. Instead of benefiting from the billion-dollar projects, the community bears the brunt of the consequences. That's the price of decisions that prioritize immediate profits over long-term sustainability. The image of the Sphere shining brightly in the desert is a bitter symbol of present-day Vegas. An artificial heart glowing brilliantly, while surrounded by the darkness of silent casinos, empty hotels, and struggling residential areas. The more the city invests in ostentation, the deeper it sinks into a void of trust. Of course, there are still voices saying that things are not entirely hopeless. Some experts suggest that Vegas could learn a more balanced approach from major brands in the entertainment and tourism industry, such as Disney. Despite always aiming for profit, Disney still prioritizes maintaining the customer experience, investing in long-term emotions rather than just focusing on immediate numbers. If Vegas knew how to return to the philosophy of create memories first, profits later, perhaps the city would still have a chance to reinvent itself. Can a city accustomed to living off gambling truly change the way it plays? And with the loyal trust of tourists shattered, is it still possible for Vegas to place another bet on its own future? The image of silent rows of hotel rooms with carpets still new but untouched by anyone speaks not only of a lack of guests. It also reveals the tragedy of the people who once kept the giant machine called Las Vegas running smoothly. A cleaner, who lives on tips from tourists, stood in front of a row of empty rooms and exclaimed, "There's no one left for me to clean." It wasn't just a sigh, but the choked sob of tens of thousands of workers struggling to find a way to stay afloat in a city that was gradually turning its back on them. In the 2024-2025 period, industry giants like MGM Resorts and Caesars Entertainment have reduced work hours and even laid off employees en masse. Thousands of people lost their already fragile livelihoods. And for those who stayed, their income also plummeted. Fewer customers, fewer tables, and fewer players mean fewer tips. A veteran bartender who used to bring home 0 in tips per shift now says she struggles to make $40. The local union described the situation with a haunting sentence. Vegas is no longer the American dream, but just about survival. According to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2024, the average wage for hotel casino employees in Nevada was only about $16.70 per hour, while the cost of living increased much faster. The average rent in Las Vegas exceeds $1,700 per month, which accounts for a significant portion of their income. These numbers reveal a truth. Even working full-time, many people still can't make ends meet. Not a few hotel employees were forced to sleep in their cars in the parking lot, right next to where they had just finished a 10-hour shift. That image became a symbol of a bitter cycle. Workers were laid off, services declined, customers were disappointed and left, and the lack of customers led to even more layoffs. The bartenders, dealers, housekeepers, the people who created the magic of Vegas with their smiles, handshakes, or simply a clean room, are now treated as disposable replacements. The city was once built with their sweat, but now there's no place for them to live. The local people are torn. On the one hand, they felt sympathy seeing their neighbors having to sell their car and move out of their apartment. On the other hand, they are also worried that poor service will disappoint tourists, leading to a decline in the city's economy. The consequences are not just about money, but also the disintegration of communities that were once closely tied to the resorts. Some experts suggest that Las Vegas could learn from other models. Costco, for example, remains famous for its stable labor policies, a starting salary higher than the average, and relatively comprehensive insurance benefits. Thanks to this, the company maintains employee loyalty and customer trust. If Vegas wants to regain its lost soul, perhaps the city also needs a similar social contract, where people are put before short-term profits. What kind of city is it that has no soul when the very people who built it cannot live there? And if even those who are deeply connected to Vegas are leaving, who can save this city? Just a few miles from the Strip, where the bright lights cast a glow into the desert sky, another world unfolds. For sale and foreclosure signs sprouted up as densely as weeds, signaling a Las Vegas rarely seen by tourists. This isn't the Vegas of million-dollar billboards or lavish shows, but the Vegas of families losing their homes, communities falling apart, and people exhausted in their struggle for survival. According to data from Zillow, in just the last 3 years, the median rent in Las Vegas has increased by nearly 30%, reaching over $700 per month. Given the average income of many households in Nevada, that number is not just a burden, but a sentence that pushes them out of their homes. At the same time, the foreclosure rate, once a painful symbol of the 2008 crisis, is returning, bringing back memories of abandoned streets, boarded-up windows, and community-wide despair. The consequences of the wave of homelessness are not just on legal documents. Each house lost means a family has to leave the community they were once connected to. Children are forced to change schools, lose friends, and stability, which are the foundation of childhood. Instead of enjoying their retirement, the elderly are forced to return to low-paying jobs just to pay rent or medical bills. The image of a man in his 70s wearing a supermarket uniform, standing for hours at the checkout counter to earn a few $100s at the end of the month, became a heartbreaking testament to a Vegas that no longer has room for leisure. Even the glamorous central area cannot hide this reality. Right below the brightly lit Bellagio billboard is a long line of homeless encampments. It's a haunting visual image, dreams and nightmares coexisting on the same street. While tourists watch the dancing fountains just a few steps away, the poor spread out their tattered blankets to find a little warmth. Losing a home is not just losing a place to live. That's losing your social roots. When the community disintegrates, the bonds that once created collective strength also disappear. The once bustling neighborhoods filled with children playing are now silent, interspersed with abandoned houses. And when that foundation collapses, people not only lose their place, but also lose their belief that they belong to a community. This situation forces Vegas to confront a harsh question. Can a city continue to call itself the entertainment capital when it can't even keep a roof over its residents' heads? Some opinions suggest that Vegas needs to learn from more sustainable community models. Habitat for Humanity, an international non-profit organization, has shown that focusing on affordable housing solutions and community involvement can change the landscape. If corporations and local governments are willing to collaborate with such models, Vegas might still have a chance to salvage its lost soul. What remains of the American dream if even a roof over one's head, something that seems so basic, has become a luxury? And when families leave one by one, what will Vegas be left with besides empty lights shining down on soulless streets? In the old days, every weekend, caravans of cars poured into Las Vegas from California like an endless river. Hundreds of thousands of people cross the desert to find neon lights, lively music, and a little bit of luck at the card table. But today, that flow of traffic is going in the opposite direction. Instead of heading to Vegas, people are leaving it, taking with them the disappointment and the beautiful memories of a bygone era. The harsh truth is that the American middle class, the customer base that was once the lifeblood of Vegas, is gradually turning away. Hotel room prices are doubled, hidden fees are endless, and services are deteriorating. Many families who once considered a weekend trip to Vegas a routine, a part of their bonding ritual, are now having to forego it because the bills have become a burden. The story of a 70-year-old couple clearly illustrates this. For 30 years, they never missed a vacation in Vegas, until last summer, when their hotel and meal bills exceeded their ability to pay. They admit, "We still love Vegas, but Vegas doesn't love us anymore." As a result, spaces that were once crowded are now sparsely populated. A casino with rows of brightly lit slot machines but lacking players. The staff stood with their arms crossed, waiting for customers, their eyes heavy with helplessness. The Grand Theatre, once filled with cheers and applause, now has rows of silent, empty seats, the stage lights shining down, but with no audience. Vegas once boasted that it never slept, but now the city seems to be in a flickering dream, half awake and half asleep. According to a report by the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the number of international visitors to Vegas in 2024 decreased by over 20% compared to 2019. A decline that not only reflects global economic difficulties, but is also a clear sign of a loss of confidence in the Vegas experience. Those figures are like an exclamation point in a gloomy picture. Vegas is no longer the default choice for those seeking fun. If one generation has left Vegas, what reason will the next generation have to return? And when the lights on the Strip are still bright, but no one is sitting beneath them, will Vegas still be a city, or just an abandoned stage? Las Vegas was once the dazzling dream of millions of Americans, a place where light, music, and hope intertwined. But today, that city has become a heartbreaking testament to an America that is gradually losing its balance. Declining numbers, endless fees, failed billion-dollar projects, and above all, the people left behind. All of this forms a sad symphony that echoes not only in the Nevada desert, but in the hearts of an entire generation. The question is no longer just for Vegas, it's for all of us. Can a country sustain the American dream when the very places that once symbolized faith and opportunity are now just empty lights? And if even Vegas, the city of big dreams, is too late to save, can the rest of America still change itself in time? If you've ever witnessed similar signs where you live, please share your story in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue our journey of exploration, asking questions, and finding answers for a future that is still open. The content in this video is created for the purpose of analysis, commentary, and providing a multifaceted perspective based on public information, reported data, and media materials. Any data, stories, or characters mentioned are for illustrative purposes only and are not intended to assign responsibility to any individual, organization, or agency. We do not guarantee the absolute accuracy or timeliness of the data and encourage viewers to verify it through various sources of information. This video is not investment, financial, or political advice, but rather an attempt to stimulate reflection, dialogue, and community awareness.